Hi internship students, I hope you are all doing well. I hope that Module 4 wrapped up nicely for you and that it was pretty straightforward. It was really just a time for wrapping up last internship thoughts. In revising the class, it really, it felt like it made best sense to create the final two modules in a way that would allow all of you to engage regardless of the status of your internship. So Module 4 was really kind of final thoughts, final reflections, observations on the current situation, regardless of how it affected you, so that you could kind of wrap that up. And then now Module 5 is really about looking forward. So welcome to Module 5. I thought what I would do is take a few minutes to go over it with you so that you know exactly what to expect and what you will be responsible for. So I am going to dig in and share my screen with you right now. So as you can see, we have Module 5 in our Canvas course site up here. The start of this module is the basics, the dates. So we start on Monday, April 13th, and we will end on Sunday, May 10th. So this will take us through to the end of the semester, our final module. Module 5 overview can be found at this link here. This is a very brief paragraph, which is basically a 30,000-foot overview of what Module 5 is about, what the point of it is, etc. So basically what that says is that Module 5 is really a time in this new revised circumstance for looking ahead. So in normal circumstances, we may have actually spent some time in the final module looking back, right? So reflecting on your experience, thinking about what you took out of it, talking about the previous final project that asked you to really do a deep dive of the company and your experience and so on and so forth. So this instead, we have this this pocket of time in the course where it really felt like it was important to pivot away from those kind of exercises where anyone who had their work hours canceled entirely or significantly modified might have a hard time completing them. And I didn't want anyone to feel penalized by a decision that was out of their control. So this is a completely revised Module 5 that really takes the time to look forward. So by virtue of being in this class, you are near graduation, whether that is this May or whether it is just one step closer by getting this course completed. And so with that in mind, I wanted you to be able to use this time to your advantage. So using it to look ahead to your future, to your job search, to what the next steps might be for you after college, since you are so near to them. And I think in particular, in a time of unprecedented circumstances and a lot of uncertainty, I think we have been left with probably less time for the things that we should be prioritizing toward the end of college, like job searches, like thinking about your career and what you're going to do next. So my hope truly is that you can use this module as a time to not only be able to earn credit for this course, where you as a replacement for the hours that you've lost or the work that you wouldn't really be able to complete effectively because you're not working. For that purpose, sure, of course, but also for real value in your own life, right? For things that perhaps you've pushed to the wayside as so many things have been kind of a scramble to get back in order. So my hope is that this is of value to you and that in many ways you'll kind of be able to kill two birds with one stone so that you can be efficient in getting things done in what is probably close to the end of your college career, if not the final weeks. So let's walk through what that means. So the very first thing that you will do is a job search, and that will take the form of a discussion forum. So the discussion forum instructions are here and ask you to conduct a job search and then report back to the group on your findings. So this is a great time to also express any concerns that you have about your job search, report observations, give each other feedback, maybe get ideas from each other about the types of jobs you're finding, that kind of thing. Then we move into a job application. So the job application assignment is an individual submitted assignment. It's not a discussion forum. So this is something that you'll do on your own. So from the job search that you do, I'd like for you to identify at least one of those that you would actually apply to, right? So this is not a job search for job searching's sake. This is meant, again, to serve a real purpose for you. So find jobs that you're actually interested in. And then in this assignment, go ahead and apply to one. So the submission here is really just the resume and cover letter that you prepare for the specific job that you've identified that you'd like to apply for. You don't need to submit any evidence of your application to the job or anything like that. But my hope is that you will use the materials that you develop for this job to actually apply to it. Again, this idea of two birds with one stone. So then we move back into discussions. And the next one is on effective self-promotion. So, I think talking about oneself in a way that is, kind of self-congratulatory, or may even feel kind of like bragging or whatever the case may be, can be pretty uncomfortable for people. But at the end of the day, you have to be your own advocate, and so that can take some practice. So the way that we're going to practice with effective self-promotion is by creating an elevator pitch. So if you're not familiar with what an elevator pitch is, you'll do some research on that first. So there's some resources in the module, but there's also a ton of information out there on elevator pitches. Many of you have maybe already done this for a class, quite possibly in my own professional development class. But even if that is the case, you will certainly need to update it at this point now that you are a more mature, more sophisticated, older student with more experiences. So you'll read the instructions here. You'll post your video elevator pitch with you actually saying the elevator pitch with you on video, and then you'll post and you'll be able to get feedback on that and give feedback to your classmates. The next thing that we'll do is a mock interview. So I've given you 4 prompts here to consider. So these are very commonly asked interview questions, and they range from very open-ended to pretty specific where it's really helpful to have preparation. So something like tell me about yourself is so wide open that it can throw people for a loop. And it can also mean that you're unprepared with how to answer that, so you can kind of be too far-reaching and winding and unfocused in your response. So practicing helps with that immensely. Planning what it is that you'll say, the highlights that you want to hit on answering a question like that, is really helpful. And then something really specific, like tell me about a conflict in the workplace. That's a delicate question, right? Because it's a fine line. You want to sound authentic and honest in the way that you answer that, but you also don't want to shed a negative light on yourself and reveal perhaps too much that might make you not look so great. So it's thinking about it in advance, I think, that prevents those kind of scenarios that from happening. So similar thing here, you will prepare your answers, create a video of you saying them, because it's not only helpful to think about it, it's better to even write them out, but what's best is actually practicing and then getting feedback on that practice. And that's what we're going to do in this discussion forum. So you can take a look at the explicit instructions there. And then we go into salary negotiation. So if you think about it, if you go down the line here, if you have done a job search, applied to some jobs, been effective in promoting yourself, landed an interview, the next step, we hope, will be that you will be in the negotiation phase with potential employers, where you'll be discussing your compensation and what that might look like. And this can be uncharted territory for many students who have never had this experience, and it can also be a little awkward, kind of uncomfortable. So going into it, knowing a little bit what to expect, what to think about, etc., is helpful. So there are 2 resources that you will look at and then come into this discussion forum with some discussion points on and engage in conversation with one another there. there. And then the final assignment of this module is your revised final project. So it no longer felt a good use of your time to continue reflecting on a company where your hours were cut short, and where you may not have access to the information that you need to complete that assignment. So I very much value the work that you had done on it to date, and you'll still get credit for it in many places. However, it really didn't seem like a good use of your time. And so we are pivoting to think about the future. So again, the idea with Module 5 is that instead of reflecting back, we're looking forward. So the final project is actually, I think, pretty straightforward in the sense that you will read the article that's linked here and then do the work that he outlines in that article. So basically, Josh Kaufman goes through the strategic steps that one would take to create a personal master plan. So the idea behind this is that you are, in fact, near graduation, thinking about your next steps, life after college, all of these kinds of things. It is a pivotal time in your life, and so you want to put some real thought into where it is that you want to be, how you want to get there, what kind of person you want to be, what your priorities are, etc. And this process really walks you through looking at those kinds of things in a way that is both philosophical and also pragmatic. So I think it'll be kind of really interesting introspection and thinking about what's important to you, but also real ways to apply some of these things in a way that will, I hope, yield action in your life in a direction that you want it to go. So the instructions are here. If you have any questions on that, of course, you can always let me know. And then the next thing I want to show you is the resources for this module. So this area is filled with different links, documents, etc., for you to page through to assist you in the assignments up here. So there's more or less one or more for each of these assignments. So you can see there's job searching resources. In these links, there's information on resume and cover letter, so you can review those if you need a brush up on that kind of a thing. Tips for an elevator pitch, tips for interviewing, and then these are the 2 salary negotiation resources that I mentioned. So you can use those to support your work in these assignments. And I think the last thing that I want to point out about this module are the dates to keep in mind. So anytime there is a discussion forum, you're going to find that there are 2 deadlines associated with it. So the first one is the initial post that you make to contribute to the conversation. And then the next one is when your replies to your classmates are due. So you want to just really keep that in mind anytime you see discussion forums. So for this module, there are a number of discussion forums, as we just saw, 4 discussion forums, and then 2 independent written assignments. So for the discussion forums, your initial posts need to be done by Sunday, April 26th. And then everything in the module, so your replies to those same discussions, plus the 2 written assignments, are due at the end of the module, which is Sunday, May 10th. So 2 dates, April 26th and May 10th. Those are the 2 key dates to keep in mind. What I would do if I were you is use the early part of the module to work on the initial discussion posts, because those will come due obviously before everything else. So that is Module 5 in a nutshell. I hope that you find it useful beyond just this class. I hope that it is pretty straightforward for you. And if you have any questions at all about Module 5 or anything else, as always, you can reach out and we can set up a phone call, a Zoom meeting. We can chat over email, whatever's best for you. So good luck on Module 5, and I hope you all are staying well, and then I get to see you soon. Take good care.